Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Too Opinionated, where today I am joined by actress Kelly Hu. Kelly,
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, we were just talking before we got online that Brett's having some technical difficulties, so he's not here yet.
Right.
But we were both so excited,
Which is surprising because the younger guys are usually the ones who get all the tech stuff, right?
I know. I can't figure it out. I was like, come on.
I know. He must have some kind of complicated thing going on there.
He was here at my house and like an hour ago. And I was like, why don't you just stay? We'll just do it here. Nope. I'm going back to my house. I'm gonna do it there. Well, okay.
Okay. No. Well, that's cool that you still live in the same city. Or is he back from school, or
no, he's
because of COVID?
All the kids are right here. So we've got we've got one that's across the street. Brett and his brother are getting ready to move into a house about a block away. They haven't moved in yet, but they're getting ready to. And then our oldest lives about 5 minutes away. So we're very blessed that they're all here.
So here's my question to you.
Yeah.
Is your refrigerator like the supermarket where kids come with their shopping bag and just like take things directly from your refrigerator and take it home with them? Isn't that amazing?
That's what he was here for. He popped in, raided the fridge, and left.
Food.
He was here like 2 minutes.
You need a conversation on your fridge. And you're like, wait a minute. Toilet paper. I bet they steal all your toilet paper too.
Yes. All the stuff, all the supplies. I mean, if you're not watching, the stuff's just gone.
Right?
Walk out the
yeah.
It's not even stuff that they need right then. It's that they might need in a little bit. So
right. You're like the free market. You're like whatever they want, they just have. That's kids for you.
That's right. I mean, I can't, when I go to my parents' house, I'm the same way. I go straight to
Are you?
Yes, I'm going straight to the fridge. I'm getting whatever in there.
But you don't actually like bring a bag and like take it home with you. No, because there's a certain point where you just got to be like adult.
Yeah,
and you can't do that to your parents.
But now you're so right though. They all carry backpacks, and they just fill them up.
Do they do their laundry at your place too? Still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now they may start doing their own once they move into the new place. But yeah, right now they do their laundry. They drop it off is what they do.
No, really? So they're not even actually spending time with you, like pretending that they're visiting while they're doing laundry. No, they just drop it off. You guys are a laundry service. You're a supermarket. This is why I don't have children.
Yeah, well, see, and now the grandkids are starting to come. So that's how I'm going to get my revenge, because it's all going to come full circle with them. I can spoil the grandkids, get them all hyped up on sugar, send them home.
Right. But here's the thing: for a while, though, because you're so close, they're going to be dropping off not their laundry, their kids too.
Oh, yeah. That's already happening. It's, but before we had 3 in a year, 3 grandkids in a year. And before they came, we were like, we're going to watch them all the time. It's going to be great. Well, then after they came, and that became a reality where they're here all the time and we love them to death. You're just like, whew. That is a young man's game. Watching kids all the time. Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't do it anymore.
I bet. At least now, though, you've got like TV and like phones and iPads to keep kids busy, like to occupy them or whatever. It used to be that you actually had to like go outside with them. And like, have a bicycle or a skateboard, and people would come back with skin knees or broken arms.
I always joke that, when I was growing up, we would just get pushed out of the house at like daylight, and we weren't allowed back in the house till nighttime. I mean, they might hand a sandwich out to you at lunchtime, but that you were just expected to play, you know.
Remember when your mom would say, go outside and play, right? And nowadays, like, you can't do that to your kids.
No,
is it legal? I don't know.
It's not safe. You can't just throw them outside like you used to be.
No.
Yeah.
No. But remember, you had gangs. You had like your little neighborhood gang.
I'm still friends with
everybody would meet up, right? And everybody would meet up with their gang.
Yeah.
And they'd make up games, and somebody would always end up crying.
Did you have a gang in Hawaii?
I did. So when I grew up, when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old or so, we ended up moving into this one little cul-de-sac. And there were a lot of kids in that cul-de-sac, and also behind us on the next street. And so, we had our little gangs running around. My brother was really one of the. He was always getting into trouble. You know, he was always like lighting fireworks, or like people, like if you hung around my brother long enough, you'd end up getting stitches. Breaking a bone.
I had a brother
because he was rough. Yeah, he was rough.
And
it wasn't that he was trying to. No, he was 4 years older.
Oh, he's
and
older.
That's why I think I'm such a tomboy, you know, because I had to survive. I had to survive around my brother. But I always say he was always trying to kill me. But he and it wasn't that he was purposely trying to kill people or hurt people, but he was so rough and such a guy's guy. You know, he had like BB guns, and, you know, like anything was a weapon. And, you know, it was just like, you know, I remember getting hit in the head when I was a kid by a 4x4 like piece of wood, because that's how I learned the word duck. Like, so my brother had this piece of wood because one of our neighbors was doing construction, and he got this 4x4, and he just started like going around in a circle, and it just kept passing my head, and it's going whoop, whoop, whoop. And he just kept coming closer and closer. And right when that piece of wood, like right when my head was in the circumference of that wood, he went duck, and I went quack. And I got nailed. I got knocked out on the ground. I came to my brother going, shh, 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 don't cry, because it was right in front of the house. I knew he was going to get in trouble. And he said, I said duck, and I said quack. I didn't realize that duck had another meaning. Yeah, that was when
that's how you learn.
There were some words that meant more than one thing. Yeah, that's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Those were the good old days,
right? When you could suffer a concussion in front of your house.
You just rub some dirt on it and get it.
Shake it off.
I think don't you think that's why when you see a lot of that now, where you have movies and TV shows that are, you know, they're going back to the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s. You know, people love that time period. I think that's why
it was a fun time.
It was.
You know, somewhat more innocent. We didn't know that all of this craziness was going around. It was all pre-internet, right?
Yes.
Before we had all that information. I mean, our parents warned us about, you know, strangers and things like that. But we just lived our lives. You never had to worry about it. Yeah.
Good old, back when we were ignorant. Those were the good old days.
I know. I'm like, can't we be ignorant again? But no, once you know, it's too late.
That's right. It's too late.
Yeah. That internet.
Oh my gosh. The internet
made us all know all kinds of, now we don't know what we know.
That's right. I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, but it's also terrible. You know,
well, I think it's also terrible because we all think that the information that we are seeing on the internet is the truth. You know, everybody thinks that what they are finding and
right.
what they are researching on all the internet is the real truth.
That's
but
the truth.
you know, the truth is we don't really know. We have no idea what the truth is. You know, and that's, so we've come we've come from like complete ignorance to knowing things, to like knowing so much that we don't actually know anything at all.
Yes, that's a great way to describe it, because that's
right,
the truth. That's
the truth. Yeah, who knows what's real anymore?
That's social media right now.
Yeah. That's my world, right? Like dealing with like stories and made up stuff and making people believe what you want them to believe.
Yes.
That's our world of acting, making up stories.
Well, so how did you get into the entertainment business? How did that come about?
You know, I always wanted to be an actor ever since I was a kid. But of course, my mom did not want me to be an actor.
Come on, Mom.
She, you know, she was very practical Asian mother. And she said, you know, you don't want to be an actor. You know, they suffer and they starve, and you know, she's like, it's a hard life.
Terrible.
She said, she said, you know, you like to talk. You should be a lawyer. Did not quite make the grades, but when I was 16, I had an opportunity. Actually, even before that, I was modeling. I was scouted as a 13-year-old to model in Japan. So I started doing stuff in front of the camera very early, because they like I'm real young over there. And then when I got into high school, I just took drama every single year, every single semester. I never learned computer skills, never learned how to type or anything else, because all I ever did was take drama. So it was an easy A. It helped my grade point average. But it wasn't until I was 16 that I got into a pageant, because when I was scouted to go to Japan, I was told that if I got some sort of title, like pageant title, that they could use that to further my career, you know, help promote me better in Japan, because they had this infatuation with, you know, title holders. And it didn't even matter like what kind of title. You could be like Miss Coconut Island. They didn't care. They just like that Miss thing going on.
Right.
And so so I ran in the first pageant that didn't require a stupid talent, you know, because I had no talent. I wasn't about to like get up on stage and pretend I could sing or dance or anything. So Miss Teen USA, and also the Miss Teen USA pageant was live on TV, and it was a cash prize. So whoever won didn't get scholarship, got like actual cash. They called it cash scholarship because I think they wanted it to sound like it was like, you know, scholastic somehow, but it was actually just cash, which was even better. So I ended up winning.
What year was that? Because when
85.
See, I probably watched that because I remember,
because that was the only kind of thing on TV, right? You could see all these girls prancing around in their bikinis.
For a teenage boy, that was must-watch TV.
Exactly. That was like pre-porn on the internet. So it was, and it was also a time when pageants were huge, right? I mean, it was like, and our country was doing really well before, you know, these crashes where these companies had all kinds of money to invest and give as prizes and whatnot. And so the prize package for Miss Teen was over 150,000 in cash and prizes. Back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's crazy money.
Yes, right. And also by that time, my parents were divorced. My mom had been struggling, single parent, you know, barely able to make ends meet, you know, really struggling to get by. And winning this pageant just changed the whole trajectory of my life, our lives, my mom and I. And my brother as well. But my brother was already in the military by that point. But anyway, so because I won this pageant, And I had always had this love of acting and wanting to be an actor. My mom was like, okay, now you've got this under your belt. You've got something that you can sort of put on your resume. Maybe this is something that you could try, but give yourself 5 years. If after 5 years nothing happens, you come home and you go back to college. And I was like, fair. Okay, yeah. So she kept a room for me until literally last year. Last year.
It still might not work out. You may need to get back.
She kept a room for me until she moved. She ended up finally selling their house or moving out of their house and moving to Vegas. She lives in Vegas now, not in Hawaii anymore. But until she moved last year, I had a bedroom there with all of my trophies and photos up and everything, in the event that maybe this acting thing wasn't going to pan out and I'm going to go back home and go back to college, you know? Who knows? Who knows?
Does she have a favorite role that you've been in? Is there something that she likes more than the others?
I know what she doesn't like. She doesn't like when I die. So whenever,
I can see that.
Yeah, and the very first movie that I ever got was Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Yep. So of course my mom went, and she hates those kind of films, but she went because it was my first film. Yeah. And she said she was like this the entire time. And then of course when I get strangled, my stepfather was in there and he timed it. He timed like from the beginning of the movie to exactly the part where I die. He's like, you die exactly halfway through the movie. And I was like, good to know. But he, apparently my mother could not watch. She waited until it was over. Hilarious. Yeah. But so I know that every time I get some work and I call my mom to let her know I got another job, she always says, so do you die? It's always the first thing. Do you die? But I die in so much stuff that I do that I understand her concern.
I know. Why is that? You're like you're kind of like Sean Bean, you know that.
Yeah. I think it's because I always play the bad guy. I'm always playing an assassin.
You make a good bad guy.
Villain. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I you know. I guess that's a good thing, but when you're the bad guy, I guess you always have to end up dying at the end. Yeah. So I always say that I have so many death scenes that at some point I would like to just edit them all together.
Oh, you should.
So that when I finally do die, I'll have it played at my funeral.
Yeah,
that would be like the best. My friends would love it, right?
Yeah, that's. That would be something I would do. I love that.
Right? Yeah. Yes. I think when you pass, that your friends should have like some stuff to laugh about. Like, I
like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What was your first acting role?
So my first gig came right after high school. I got cast while I was still living in Hawaii. I was not going to college yet. Yeah. I was planning to go to Japan actually, and I was modeling, going back and forth to Japan, and having my career like sort of stationed out of Hawaii. And Growing Pains came to Hawaii to shoot their 2-part
vacation episode.
Their vacation episode. Yeah. And it was like their season premiere, and it was a 2-parter, and they were looking for a girl to play a local Hawaiian tour guide who could be the love interest to Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
So Mike Seaver, exactly. And it was the biggest show on TV at the time, right? Yeah. I mean, it was huge, and little girls just loved Mike Seaver. So I ended up getting cast in this, and before the show even aired, I packed up my bags and I moved to Los Angeles.
Wow.
So yeah. And
that show was a monster back then. So that's
was
a good first gig.
When people actually watched only like 3 networks, you know, it was, or 4 networks, right? I mean, it was still like, it was, they were still getting big numbers, right? When you could do that.
For sure.
And so, yeah, I moved to Los Angeles. I didn't have an agent, or I didn't know anyone out there. But I knew that, you know, there was this book of agencies that I found at Samuel French, which is like where all the actors go for all their reading, you know, information. And they had this book of agencies. I looked through all the agencies. I did a mass mailing, and I took out a full page ad in Variety the day that the show aired, announcing that I was now available for West Coast representation.
That's pretty bold.
Right? I mean, I think when you're 18, you do stuff like that. You just don't even think about, you know, like, you're just...
Well, did it work?
I was... Totally. It totally worked. Right? Because when I looked through Variety, I would see that all these other actors had these tiny little, they would maybe do like a quarter page or an eighth of a page, or, you know, and I thought, nobody's going to see that. If I'm going to go big. Right? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go big. And I had all this money that I from the pageant, and I thought, I'm going to invest in myself. And before the show even aired, I got 20 calls from agencies that were interested in knowing who this crazy girl was. And there were not a lot of Asian actors back then. And so everyone wanted this young, you know, Asian girl on their roster, so they'd have somebody to send out whenever they needed, you know, a Vietnam War victim, or, you know, like one of those very few roles that they would ever need an Asian for. So luckily, when I ended up signing with a great agent, and they were really good about not just sending me out on Asian roles. They sent me out on everything that, you know, was that was anything that didn't require a specific ethnicity. They were like, you know, open on sending me out for like All American Girl. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really lucky.
That's pretty terrific. You've been on so many good show. Like, if you're a nerdy guy or a nerdy girl, like Brett and I are, you've been in all the shows that we like.
I'm so lucky, and I love the career that I've had, because, you know, I get to do all the fun stuff. You know, all these comic book type shows, and, you know, action stuff, a lot of video games. I realize that I exist better in like the fantasy world than I do in real life.
Terrible. I would take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I would take that. Yeah, I saw you on the 100, which is...
Oh, that was so weird.
Yeah.
Because I did the pilot. Yeah. And then they didn't bring me back for the series, but then they never explained my character away. I just kind of disappeared.
We talk about that all the time. It was so frustrating, because that's a good show.
Right.
But it didn't make any sense. Why they could have had you in a flashback or something to show what happened to you.
So here's
that was what my question. What happened to you?
I seriously, I have no idea. I have no idea. My personal opinion is, and I can only think that this is the reason why they didn't even bring me back to do like any sort of episode to explain my character away, even to kill me off, which I could have added to my death reel, which would have been awesome. I would have loved to have been killed off. But I think because of the contract that you sign when they sign you up for each episode,
right,
that even though they don't hire you as a regular, that if they bring you back, that they have to pay you this larger sum of money as though you were still a regular. and that's the only thing that I can think of.
Sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I even said I would love to have come back to do, guest star or whatever. But it just never happened.
You're probably right. It's probably, you wouldn't technically be a guest star. You'd be almost a regular cast member. They'd have to pay you that way.
Right. Yeah. Which I'm not even that expensive. Like, I'm pretty cheap. So I don't know what the problem was, really.
I've heard that before. We've had a few actors on. I remember
that I was cheap.
No.
She's got that reputation. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, we had this one gentleman on that was a guest. He guest starred on Friends.
Oh.
And he was Larry Hankin, and he played Mr. Heckles. I don't know if you remember. He was like the crazy downstairs neighbor.
Oh.
And he was on the show 3 times. Well, if you got to 5 guest star appearances, it really jumped up the pay. Because
they can't hire you as like a day player anymore, which was what he was probably getting. So, they have to give you a recurring guest star quote.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yes.
So he was already planning to make a down payment on a house based on that 5th appearance. So he'd been on there 3 times, and his agent called and he says they want you back, and he was so excited because it's 4 times, one more, and I'm on. And he's like, yeah, but I got some bad news. He's like, they're killing you off.
Producers are not dumb. No. Like, they are not dumb. They're like, okay, we got 2 more left. Let's kill him off before we got to actually pay him. Yeah. No, there's a lot of math involved. It's a business.
Acting is brutal. I don't know how you do it. That's such a hard profession.
Well, like I said, I never really learned to do anything else. I never went to college. So all my eggs were in one basket. Yes. I do not recommend anyone to do that.
Yeah.
If you can go to college and learn something else, please do. But yeah, I came in at a time, though, it was really timely for me. I came in at a time where there were no Asian actresses.
Yeah.
Those Asian roles were starting to come up more and more. And it was just lucky time. I would not recommend any kid who wants to get into acting to do what I did. at all. Because it just wouldn't work now. Full-page ad. No, it just wouldn't work now. Things have changed so much, and there are so many. There are also advantages to trying to start a career now because there's so many more networks, so much more opportunity in casting. Right. And then also everybody can, everybody's got a phone. They can just make a whole movie using an iPhone.
Yeah.
Everybody's got access to editing. You can, be as creative as you want. And there are so many people who have gotten noticed through the internet. So you could live in West Virginia, never having stepped into Los Angeles, get famous on, the internet somehow, on YouTube or whatever. TikTok, right? And then all of a sudden have, some network or some casting or agent see your stuff and sign you, and next thing you know, you've got a show.
Yeah, you got a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can happen pretty fast.
It can. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there to get noticed.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people out there trying to get noticed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's it. Try podcasting, because everybody podcasts.
Oh, right.
Podcasters out there. So
I was actually thinking of doing a podcast one day.
You should.
Yeah, it would be fun. I love talking to people.
Yeah, you should totally do that. I'd watch that.
Yeah?
We can help with that. Just call us up. We'll hook it up.
Okay.
What would you call your podcast?
I don't know.
You have to have
maybe Who Knows?
Who knows? I like that. Yeah. You have to have something that plays off of it, I think.
Yeah, something. I got that stupid name for a reason. I got to use it. Right? I got teased about it all through school. I got to start using it to my advantage.
Well, I'm terrible with names. Usually Brett does the introductions because I always screw them up. So I was worried because I wanted to pronounce your last name correctly,
Right.
So I went and did my research and made sure that I had because when you read it, you're like, is it you?
Is it Hugh? I know. Yeah, I get it.
So I want to make sure. So because I've screwed them up before. So
I don't take it personally. There are some people who get very angry about things like that.
I get that.
Yeah, I suppose so. But it's always about intention. And
That's right.
Exactly. I don't take it personally.
I wanted to ask you, because you've been fortunate enough to work for both Marvel and DC products with that. And how does that work? And do they battle over your services now? Because especially with
I wish
the voice work, you've done a lot of voice work for both companies.
I have, because I do a lot of video games and animation and things like that. So yeah, I mean, nobody's battling over me per se. That would be nice.
Well, Marvel,
there's
DC, they're rivals.
Definitely enough of me to go around at the moment. But I'm lucky that I've been able to make a great career and have be part of both universes. These universes are so large, they're so enormous, that I half the time when I'm auditioning for something, and they never tell you what you're auditioning for,
right?
Because it's always like a secret, and they have some sort of fake name that they're using for the project. And I'm not familiar enough with comic books that I go in and read for something, I can't figure out what character it is. And sometimes I'll even get the job and they'll be all, okay, so it's not actually this, you've probably figured it out, you're doing Batman. And I was like, okay. Okay. And so you're playing Lady Shiva.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And this is like, I learn it all on the day and once I'm in the booth. And so then I do my work. I'm in there for a few hours or however long, a whole day. I do my work. I leave. I never hear about it again, except maybe like they do a couple of pickups or whatever. And then I forget about it. 2 years later, some kid will come up to me at a Comic-Con with a DVD for me to sign. And I'll go, I don't think I'm in that. And they'll go, no, you are. I'm like, I don't remember doing that. And they'll have to look it up on their phone and IMDb it and like prove it to me and tell me what character I played. Because it was like 2 years ago, one day out of my life. I don't remember, those 3 hours in the booth. And,
That's
it's
hilarious.
like, because video games take a long time before they finally finish.
Sure.
So you voice all of this stuff, and then the game doesn't come out for like 2 years, and you're just like, right, I remember that.
I remember doing that vaguely.
Yeah, vaguely. Because I have like a really bad memory to begin with.
So you don't have an opinion on if Lady Shiva could beat Lady Deathstrike? Who would win that battle?
I don't know. Well, Deathstrike has like regenerative power, right?
She does. She
so she's a hard one to kill.
You know a little bit.
Yeah, I know a little bit, only because I played her. Like, you ask me about anybody else, I would have no idea.
That had to be a fun role to play.
That was amazing. It was amazing. Just being able to work with all of those awesome people.
Right.
That cast was like all these Oscar-winning
people.
I mean, what a cast.
Yeah, what a cast. Yeah, that was a great cast.
Brian Cox and Ian McKellen and Halle Berry, they all won Oscars, and Hugh, of course. I forget. But yeah, no, it was such an honor to just be in the presence of all those people.
Did anybody make you nervous being around?
All of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I wondered, like, I'd be a fan. Even if I was in acting, I would be a fan. I would still.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But they were all so nice that, I think they all realize that who they are. And so on set, everybody is just, the nicest people. Seriously, I can't remember a single actor on that set having any kind of attitude at all. Everyone was just super like cool and talkative and inviting. I never felt like the outsider, even because I was only brought on episode 2 or on X2. Right. Everybody else had worked together on the first film, so there was definitely a bonding already set on the first film. Yeah. But it was so easy to be on set with them.
Yeah, that's terrific, and that was a great role. I think we enjoyed that one. That was fun.
She was so fun to play, and a challenge because there was no dialogue, which is great because I never had to worry about like learning dialogue. But it set up another challenge that you have to build an entire character without speaking. And so it was all about movement and reaction, but I couldn't even react because I'm supposed to be like under these the drugs and whatever. And so it's it's a whole character that you have to play with such limitations. Yeah.
No, it was awesome, and you conveyed a lot without saying anything. Really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Really cool.
Yeah, really cool. I think that the best part of it was when I actually get killed. And hopefully everybody who's listening to this podcast knows this because it came out so long ago that if you have not seen it, too bad.
That's right. Your fault.
But that was my favorite part actually, because there's like that one moment where you see her turn and you think, oh, she's not this evil after all.
That's right.
But it's too late.
Too late. It was heart-wrenching.
Yeah. Beautiful though. Beautiful. The music, they did such a great job.
They did. It was terrific. And we loved you as a vampire on Vampire Diaries. That was cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was super fun too.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I remember like just 3 weeks or so before getting that job, I was on another set in New York and I was talking to my friends who are like the other actors on set, and we all said, oh, wouldn't it be so fun to be a vampire? And I was like, I want to play a vampire. And then like 3 weeks later I get this call and I was like, oh, and I called my friends and I was like, you wouldn't believe.
You put it
amazing.
Out in the universe.
Yeah, I so believe in that. I really do. Like, manifestation. I think, you have to say it out loud or put it down on a piece of paper or something. I have a whole bucket list I've had since I've been building on it since I was like 20 years old or so, great. Even probably before, like 18 years old. I've had this bucket list. I had it, in a tablet before, and now of course on my computer. Right. And just constantly adding to it and looking it over and thinking, so what can I do next?
That's right.
Checking things off that bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I don't have a list. I've got things, like I want to do that, but I need to write them down.
I think it really helps to actually write it out. To actually have it in front of you, something that you could look at, and really helps with the manifestation.
It motivates you. Yeah.
It not only motivates you, but I feel like it really puts it out there in the universe, and like God, the universe, or whatever it is that you believe in,
positive
like
energy.
helps you make that happen.
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that too. I think that positive type of energy, I think, has a tendency to come back to you. So
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Brett said to make sure to mention that you were on the Turtles cartoon. Teenage Mutant
Oh, right.
Turtles.
Ninja
He's a big
Turtles.
fan. Yeah, he's a big
Oh,
fan. So he
great.
said to
Yeah,
bring that
that was
up.
such a fun job. I did that for like 7 years. I got to play karai, and it was such a fun job. Really, really amazing people. You know, voiceover is just always so fun. Just people who work in voiceover are just the nicest people who have ever walked the face of the earth.
Yeah, I've heard that
everyone.
many times. Yeah.
Yeah. You never get an attitude. You know, everyone's uber friendly. More so than on camera stuff. Voiceover people are just super special. And it's also a very all knit sort of cliquish community. So I'm very, very fortunate, you know,
it's hard
grateful to get in. Yeah. And I think it was also another one of those where they needed Asian people, you know. It helps nowadays to be a minority.
You know, I got a lot of respect for acting and voice acting too. I got a chance. We're producing a little audio drama that we've got some really good actors that are on it with us. But I got to act opposite of Ed Asner.
I love Ed. I play poker with him.
Yes, just amazing.
Isn't he so funny?
Oh, he's the best. He's just the best. And,
oh my God, he makes me laugh.
It's just a little thing, but there's a part I have to get emotional in it, and I just had the worst time getting there, and you know, so my wife helped me. She told me something to make me sad, and it worked, and I got emotional.
Wow.
But then I couldn't get out of it. I was upset for the rest of the day. She talked to me at night. She's like, "What's the matter with you?" And I'm like, "I'm still sad."
Yeah.
How do you do that where you
Sometimes
can
it's
turn
hard.
it on and off? Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to shake it off, but you know, that means that you were really in the moment, and that's a great acting skill to have, to be able to have those little treasures to draw from. But yeah, you have to sort of compartmentalize.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do a good job of it.
Yeah. But at least you were able to get there, and when you needed to bring it in, you brought it. Which
I had
you know,
a little help, but I got there.
Yeah.
So you play poker with Ed. I knew you were a poker player. Do you have a like a standing group?
I do. There's a game that I've been in and out of for like 10 years. There's a guy named Norby Walters who used to be a manager for like Salt and Pepper and like all of these like groups back in the 80s. And he's like this old Jewish guy. He's like 89 now, I think. He's so old that he's like falling asleep at the table sometimes. But you still can't take advantage of him because he'll still kick your ass. But he's amazing, and he has organized this game, and he's had it going on for decades.
Wow.
And it's all actors and different celebrities and stuff, and just the best stories of all. It's like me and a bunch of old guys. It's usually a bunch of old guys. There's a lot of people on the roster, but everybody's always working. So, you know, out of town or whatever. So, you know, you cycle through and you see some of the same people, but oftentimes, you know, Mimi Rogers will pop in or you know, just whoever's in town and available to play at the moment.
Yeah.
And of course, we have not been able to play since COVID.
Right.
Because it's a lot of older people. You know, we've lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
We've already lost a lot of people even before COVID, just because, you know, they're all older guys, but they have the best stories. All these old Hollywood stories, and you know, stuff that I can't even repeat, but they're
of course
like, not. amazing. All the backstories that you hear.
What's your game? What's the poker game that you prefer?
You know, Everybody now plays Texas Hold'em, right? That's
Right.
like, that became really popular like in 2000 or so.
Yeah.
So what, like, young people are always playing Texas Hold'em. You know, that's
Right.
that's the most, probably the most popular game, I think, even in Vegas. But old guys, they don't like Texas Hold'em.
See, they're like
They're
me.
all seven card. Yeah,
Yeah, they're playing stud and draw.
exactly. Yeah, all seven card stud.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and they play for, like, a dollar a game. It's not like
Yeah.
anybody's making any big money or anything. You're just there for all the great stories,
Oh
and for
yeah.
the
How could you not
camaraderie,
be?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you lose your butt, it's like $100 in a night. It's like still the best night ever.
That's worth
It's like,
$100.
it's worth the $100, exactly, for all those great stories. It's awesome.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, Kelly, this has been great. I thank you so much for
Oh, I need to plug
spending some
something.
time. Yeah,
Can I
well,
plug
that
something?
absolutely, that's where I was going next. Is
Oh,
if
okay.
let us know what you're working on and where people can find you, please.
Actually, what I want to plug is not necessarily, stuff that's going on
Yeah,
with my acting. During quarantine, I actually started a new business.
you
You know,
did.
I did. So there was so much going on in the country,
Yeah,
with all the protests and everything, and looting and rioting and whatnot. And I feel like even before the quarantine, before COVID even happened, everybody's been so divided, left and
sure.
right,
Yeah,
conservatives and liberals and black and white, or whatever it is. It's just everybody's so dug in. And I thought, we need more unity. We need people to come together, help
yeah.
bridge that gap. So I created a clothing line of t-shirts for guys and
Oh,
girls.
cool.
And I'm actually wearing one of the designs right now.
I was
This is
admiring your shirt. My wife would love that.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
actually a gradient of skin colors. So everything on the
Oh,
in the line is a gradient of skin tones, and just representing diversity,
love
equality,
that.
unity, kindness, humanity. And then I also added recently. I just lost my dog just
Oh
2 weeks
no.
ago,
Yeah, sorry
and
about
um,
that.
and she was a
I know how hard
rescue.
that is.
Oh, I had her for 17 and a half years.
Wow.
And so I created a design, just as rescue across the shirt in her honor, in her memory, where proceeds will be going to animal rescues as well.
Oh,
So it's called
that's awesome.
33 Edge. 33 Edge.
33 Edge.
Yeah, they could go on 33edge.com, EDGE, and look it up and see, if they want to join this unity community, I call it. They're welcome to
Well, we're
to to
coming to
come on
join
board.
because yeah, I can already
Yay!
tell. Yeah, yeah, we got to get on
Thank
that.
you.
That's awesome.
Thank
33
you.
Edge. Yeah, good for you. That's really cool that you turned your time into something positive. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it was more than just finding another avenue for, because I wasn't working,
Right.
another, way to make money. It was really about my concern for what's going on in not just the country, but the entire world. It
Right.
seems like everyone's so divided. And I
Yeah.
just felt like there were probably a lot more of us in the middle who want to find more peace and understanding.
I love
So
that. Have
hopefully.
you went out anywhere and seen anybody wearing the clothing? Because I think that would be really cool if you're walking around and see somebody wearing
I
it.
have not yet,
We're
because
gonna
I
fix that.
don't ever leave the house.
Yeah. Someday.
I'm still like on like major lockdown. I'm because I have asthma, so I'm very, very careful about leaving the house, and
Yeah.
and I'm still like ordering food in and only going out when it's absolutely necessary.
That's
I don't
good.
even Yeah, I don't even go grocery shopping. I can count on my hand how many times I've left the house to go grocery shopping. So right now the only time I'm leaving the house is to do like business with the
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But what people are doing is they're buying the shirts and then they're posting it on social media. And
That's
so
cool.
I've got like a whole gallery of people. So what I encourage people to take pictures of themselves and post it on social media, and then tag 33edge.com or tag, hashtag 33edge. And I will use their photos, if it's good quality, I will use their photos and add it to the gallery on the website, and they can be part of the community.
Yeah, I love that. That's terrific. So you mentioned you've got asthma, but I know that you've run a marathon.
Yes. Yeah. I managed to do that. I take medication, so it helps.
So I have bouts off and on with asthma, and I run, but I've never worked up to a marathon. So that's really
I probably should never have done it, because I'll never do it again for sure. But early on, I decided, well, if I'm going to do this marathon, I might as well try to fundraise for it and do some sort of charity. So I did. I opened my big mouth, and I ended up doing it for I chose a charity in Hawaii, actually, because I was running it in Hawaii. And there was a reef conservation program that needed like a jump start. So I raised $100,000 through this marathon and fundraising to jumpstart this program. But because I said that I was going to do this, I could not get out of it.
That's right.
And I probably injured myself permanently after that marathon, but I did it, and now I can check that off that bucket list.
I'm so impressed with that.
Thank you.
When I was really running a lot, that was a couple of years ago, and I set myself a goal that I was going to run 2,000 miles in a year. So that was my goal. So I got to December 31st, and I had 13 miles left, and intentionally, because I was like,
good.
I was going to run I was like, I'm going to finish with a half marathon. That was going to be my big finish for the 2,000 miles. So I got to the 31st, and I woke up that morning with a stomach bug.
Oh.
I didn't get to finish. I ended up with 1,987. So my big day was ruined.
Darn.
It wasn't the same to do it on January 1st. That wouldn't have been.
I was actually wanting to do a half marathon when I was 50. I was like, half century, half marathon. But that year went by pretty fast. Should we do one?
We should do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It might take half the day, but we could do it.
I'm gonna have to work up to that, though.
Me too. I'm not to that. I can still do the 5Ks, but
that I could do easy. That you could push. You could force that. Just.
That's right.
But like after 13 miles, that you still got to work up to.
I know. I can't believe you. Once you get to 13, you're 13 miles in, and you still got to look, and you're like, I got 13 more to go.
I know. And the day of the marathon, I remember, because I was having knee problems pretty early on, and by mile 3, I could feel my knees already.
Oh, man.
And I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't take care of this, this is it. I'm not going to be able to raise all this money, and so my friends were actually following me on a moped. So I said, I need something for my knees, like Tylenol or Aleve or something. So they actually went to a gas station to find some, like a little packet of Aleve for me to take. But they could not find me again till mile 13.
Oh.
So I was running 10 more miles, feeling my knees on every step. But as soon as I took that stuff, I guess my metabolism was going so fast, and I had an empty stomach by then. It was like within less than a minute, my knee problem was gone. I was like, I better hurry and finish this before it comes back.
That's right. Yeah. Let's finish up. Well, Kelly,
I did it.
This has been great. Is there anything that we can look for you?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. So there is a movie that was supposed to come out this summer, but of course, with COVID, everything was up in the air, and who knows when it's going to come out now. It's called Finding Ohana. It's for Netflix, and it's a kids film. It's sort of like, I explain it like Goonies, but takes place in Hawaii. So it's like a treasure hunt, and these the two kids who play my children are both first-time actors, Polynesian, one's from Hawaii, one is part Samoan, and just amazing actors. So talented. I'm so proud of this. I think once it comes out, they're going to be superstars. Seriously.
Is it due soon? It seems like I've seen something on that. Is it coming out soon?
I don't know. I don't know when coming out, but it's called Finding Ohana. So if you keep your ears peeled for that. Yeah.
Love the Goonies. Anything that reminds you of the Goonies, that's worth it.
Right? Yeah. And remember the kid from Goonies, the Asian kid?
Oh yeah, of course.
He's in film.
No.
Yes, he's got a cameo in our film.
Oh, that's the best.
Amazing.
He was the Indiana Jones kid.
Yes.
Too, right?
Yes, he was in that kid. Remember? He was that kid. Those two movies, and then he never worked again. He actually dropped out of the entire business.
Oh my gosh.
And he started producing.
To that guy. That'd be a good story.
You should. I'll hook it up.
Oh, please.
I'll hook it up. Yeah.
I would appreciate
He's amazing.
That. Yeah, I'd love to
such a nice guy. Seriously.
Awesome.
We'll make that happen.
Please do.
Okay.
That's terrific. Kelly, thank you so much. This has been the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
For so long. Yeah, you were so much. I knew you'd be wonderful, but you were even better than that. This has been great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Such an honor. Thank you.
Oh, you have to come back.
I will. Yeah. Anytime.
Have to have you back. Yeah, we got to have you back so Brett can join us, because I know he's probably.
Yes.
I'm gonna hold it over his head. I'm like, you should have stayed. Shouldn't just taken the food.
Stayed. Shouldn't have gone back home to put that ice cream in your freezer.
Our internet works here.
Someone's paying the bills at your house. That's why.
That's exactly right. That's probably the problem. Probably.
Awesome.
All right, Kelly. We'll let you
next
go.
Time. Thank you
so much.
Take care.
Yes,
so great meeting you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So that was the wonderful, terrific Kelly Hu. Wow. I'm having the best week. I know these will be released in different orders, but it's been, for me, for recording, last night I was talking with Sam Jones, who played Flash Gordon. In just a few minutes, I'm going to talk with Mark Singer, who's played the Beastmaster and was in V. And then this Sunday, we're speaking with Ron Perlman. It's been a crazy, wonderful week. And that's, I talked with Allison Dunbar. I talked with, so many, Sherilyn Fenn, from Twin Peaks. It's just been a wonderful week. So really thankful for that. And hopefully over the next couple months, as we're releasing these, you guys will enjoy that. Please check us out on Facebook under MeisterCon. Check out our new website, meistercon.com. We're really proud of that. Brett has a blog on there, and he's writing some really fun stuff around Batman and certain video games. So it's really good stuff. So check that out. And please check out our audio drama, The Last Saturday Night. I talked a little bit about Ed Asner being on there, Sherilyn Fenn's on there, Allison Dunbar. We just found out today that Eric Roberts is going to be appearing on it. So we're so excited about that. So please check that out, The Last Saturday Night. It's written by Jennifer Nash, who is a very good friend of ours and just a wonderful actor herself. Okay, I think that's it. If you'd like to help us out, if you want to donate to the podcast, we'd appreciate the help building a podcast studio. You can go to patreon.com/MeisterCon. Even a few dollars is a huge help. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.